everybody, welcome back to Tittok, the mess that is my mind. 4th episode, number 4. I'm drinking coffee today, not any alcoholic beverage. The choice of beverage today is coffee because it's actually 3:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. You might be asking, Jennifer, why are you drinking coffee with a straw? Those of you listening via audio wouldn't know that I'm drinking coffee with a straw, but I'll let you know the reason as to why. Because I have a $20,000 mouth. What? Yeah, I've gotten a lot of dental work done. Braces, gum grafting, cavities needing fillings. So in order to preserve not only the whiteness of my teeth, I'm also trying to just preserve the overall health and wellness of my chompers. So I drink coffee with a straw. Maybe that's doing more harm than good, but I'm just gonna go with the fact and my overall intention of me trying to treat my teeth well. Didn't really sleep well last night. Haven't really been sleeping well. Trying to get my sleep schedule back on track, which I sort of mentioned in regards to, having a decent morning schedule and trying to take control of my day. So far, so good. Not putting too much pressure on myself, but also trying to put in effort, which is important. Actually putting in the effort and not just saying you're going to do it. Walk the walk every once in a while, to actually get yourself there. You gotta walk the walk. But anyways, I've been just having a lot of weird dreams. I've been trying to stretch and do some just sort of more relaxing before bed, which is helping. But it's the waking up frequently, every 2 hours. I'm almost sleeping in 2-hour chunks. So am I really getting to a deep level of sleep? Probably not. Hence why I'm feeling exhausted. But I also went on a run yesterday, my first run in a month and a half. I try not to run when it's below 0, for sensical reasons. I don't see the sense in running when it's below 0. Nonetheless, we've gotten blessed with some more mild weather as spring is approaching, finally. Got spring fever over here. And I went for a run, felt really good. Only had a minor moment of trying to get my shit together, but otherwise we're still in runner's shape. Not like I'm preparing for a marathon anytime soon. Of course, any runs that I had signed up for last year got canceled because of the thing that's affecting us all. But I can still run my own marathons. I can still, run up a big set of stairs and, smash out 5K and feel like a boss bitch. And, maybe eventually I'll work my way up to a half marathon, but I'm more of just a 10K kind of girl. I feel it today. I feel a little sore, so I wonder if that contributed to the sleep. But no, exercise is really good. Physical exercise is so necessary, even if it's just walking, listening to music. That's so good for your mental health. But then also doing ab exercises to the point where you feel like you were punched in either side of your ribs. That sucks. Took me 3 weeks, or 3 days last week to recover. My boyfriend and I were doing a workout at my house, and he has signed up for this, every day they focus on abs or legs or, whole body thing. But the woman's obsessed with planks. She'll just make you do planks for essentially 45 minutes, and it killed me. And of course my boyfriend was watching, so I was trying to just go extra hard and motivate him, and having him watch me was motivating me. But I paid for it for 3-4 days. I felt my stomach was ripped in half. Somebody took either end of me and just wrung me out and ripped me in half. But that's okay. That's okay. It's gonna be worth it, right? When I'm on the beach with my Kendall Jenner stomach, right? It's gonna be worth it. That's what I'm visualizing to get through it. Kendall Jenner stomach, Kendall Jenner stomach. Because that's what I want. That's not, maybe it's not an attainable beauty standard, but in my head, that's what we're striving for over here, okay? That's just what I want. No shade, no hate, okay? Every stomach is beautiful. My stomach's beautiful, but what do I work out for? You have to have some goal, something to work towards, right? And even if it's just like having better cardiovascular health, then, it's good enough reason for me. Education. Y'all read books, y'all educated. I've been thinking recently about going back to school. And then I also thought, no, I'm good. I'm good for right now because I don't know what I would go back for. There's so many things you can go for. And I don't really think it's worthwhile unless you know what you're going for. It can be a cool stepping stone if you're taking something more general, but take it from me. If you go to school for some sort of like arts and crafts, essentially, you're gonna screw yourself over because it doesn't really hold much worth in the real world, if I'm being honest. I dabbled my feet in a little bit of fashion communication, a little bit of design, graphic design. And then I ended up, I graduated with, from college twice with more of a design focus, and then also with a fashion focus, visual merchandising, which encompassed a lot of artistic things like graphic design, and not only working in the retail space but also e-commerce and photo styling and the likes of it all. But I also had a little university stint, which was fun. I learned a couple things, but the big takeaway from that was I don't want to spend $40,000 on essentially arts and crafts because it wasn't right for me. I looked around me, and a lot of the other peers that I had in that program, they wanted to be fashion designers, and they had this ability, and they had, I was going for more of a general, like, oh, I think I'll like this. I think I'm just going to throw myself into this and see what comes of it, which is fine for other people, but for me, nothing was sticking. It wasn't sticking. It didn't feel right. And although I was given a conditional offer, and, while in college, for the first time I applied to university for fashion communication. This is when I was going to like a foundational design program. And I thought, like, wow, like I fell in love with my education, because all throughout primary school, middle school, high school, not a fun time. I just really wasn't in love with learning, wasn't in love with my education. Now I love learning. I'm so curious, and I just have a love for learning now. So, but it wasn't always like that. And I have to thank, a lot of the people that I was surrounding myself with before I applied to college were really motivating me to work in the design space and find something, find like this little niche in education that I could invest money and time in. So I did just that, and I went to college. And then I thought, well, I guess I'll go to university now because I like this. I want to further on and see what else I can gain and learn. And I knew, like, I've always loved fashion. I've always loved, curating, and not only just curating my closet, but the things around me. I have a very unique taste, and learning a lot about not only art history, but interior design and the whole likes of it all. And so I applied for university. Didn't think I'd get in because my high school grades were very, very bad. I was in and out of high school, sleeping in, skipping class, focusing on boys and drugs and all those other stupid, youthful, wasteful things. I shouldn't say stupid. I love looking back on the memories that I have, that I made, especially during that time. But I wasn't focused on my education. My grades weren't great. So in the years that had passed, I didn't really think that it would affect me as much as it did. But I pulled my big girl pants up. I found a tutor. I was able to get my math mark up, which is what the conditional offer wanted me to do, because math was never my forte. It still is not. And that's okay. We're not always going to be good at everything. And anyways, I made it into university. Moved to Toronto for the first time. All my dreams were coming true. I was making shit happen for myself. It felt great. because I had Lion, I had my dog at the time, I couldn't live on residence. So I balled out and I got a, great condo right across from Holt Renfrew, right in Yorkville in the fashion district. And me going to fashion school, it was just like, it was perfect. And That's what I thought. That's what I had thought, I wanted. And then I got there and I quickly realized, yeah, no, this ain't for me. And, you can be fashionable and work in any industry. That was another big takeaway. Just because I like clothes and I like, the whole, idea of expressing yourself through clothes and your outwards appearance, whether it be tattoos or the outfit that you're wearing, the makeup you put on, I love that. I admire everyone's unique style. And if I could make a career out of that, why not give it a shot? But then again, I realized you can be fashionable and work in any industry. So then I had to make a complete 180. I went back to what was comfortable, which was Kitchener and college. And yeah, I went back to school. I quite literally marched into the college, found the program coordinator for the new program I wanted to be in, and I said, "Hi, I know you don't accept people halfway through the year, but this is my current situation. I know I'm extremely smart and capable. You're going to see me catch up to everybody else." And long story short, and shout out Margie, she's great. She's a ball of sunshine. I hope she's doing well in her retirement. She was like, "Wow, you're incredibly impressive. Let's give this a shot." So she did, and I don't think she regretted it because of, I worked my butt off because I knew it was, although it was still general arts and crafts, it was still giving me the discipline that I knew I wanted out of my education. I ended up graduating from college twice with a lot of like general design and arts skills. I have to give it up to, people that want to go to law school and follow through and become lawyers, people that go to medical school and become nurses, like the very straight and narrow. Even if you go into the trades, become a carpenter, whatever it is, like I love that for you. I do. But I want to also have, one time a little bit of representation for those that are like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'll just throw myself into this general thing that cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. Because you're allowed to sort of be like, oh wait, and even if you do get to that point and you're like, no, this is not what I want, that's fine. That's chill. It's cool. Back out of it, one of my best friends, shout out Delana, she, we met when I was in college the first time for design. And I think she was in the course for maybe 3-4 months, and she was like, yeah, no, the same for me. I know myself well enough, and I know that this is not what I need to be doing at this time. She went back to work. She kept herself occupied and productive. And then she ended up going back to school for something that she's in love with, makeup. Before I met her, she was going to school to be a nail technician. She just loves beauty and aesthetics and that whole thing. So it takes time. Sometimes you'll bounce back. Like I said, the path is never linear. That's I've got a unilome tattoo here. It's, the path to enlightenment, and it's all just wacky and funky and twisty, and yeah, it's never straight. Even those that are like, yeah, I would like to be a carpenter, I love working with wood, go to school in the trades and then become a carpenter. That's not always the case for them either. There's still other twists and turns. But when it comes to education, just relieve the pressure, right? Like, it's not, and even me, sometimes I have to catch myself not beating myself up by just being like, oh yeah, I graduated from college. That's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. And you were so happy during that time, too. Like, you fell in love with your education again. You wanted to impress your professors and have a great portfolio when you left when you left it. And then now being, in the working world, having worked in corporate for a couple years and, bouncing around and, I was working in the arts right out of college. I actually got a co-op internship, and then I was working in Stratford for a few months, which led to a full-time position. And of course it was seasonal because the theater season is what, like April/May to usually around Halloween. And the year that I worked there was so fun because we were doing the Rocky Horror Show. So I was wearing leather and fishnets and my boa and pearls while trying to upsell all this merchandise to people. It was great. I don't want to work in any other industry that isn't providing like joy and invoking some sort of spark and like enlightenment to some people, whether it's with like color, art, music, my voice, something. I love that because it's always been the most joyous part of my life. So yeah, and then also my stint in corporate just sort of showed me that, you know, the general arts, it doesn't really like hold a place in this like, you know, suit and tie world, which isn't even where I want to be anyways. So that's my roundabout way of just sort of saying, stick to what you want to do, what you want to get out of life, and put in the effort, right? Walk the walk. You know, you gotta talk the talk to figure out what exactly it is you want to do. You gotta spend that annoying alone time that I always talk about. But ultimately, you'll get to where you want to be. If you have the money to invest in education, do it because it's totally worthwhile, even if you just want to go to get some sort of like discipline, time management skills. And I'm not hating on like community colleges or, you know, general courses, right? The message is do what you want to do, study what you want to study. And if you want to drop out halfway through, that's fine too. If you want to go back, that's fine too. If you want to study one thing and then study furthermore into that as well, that's cool too. One of my best friends, Nav, we met in my second round of college, and she really loved how in the visual merchandising program we focused a lot on graphic design. That was her niche of that program. That's the stuff that she loved. And she, you know, built a solid portfolio, but she thought, I really want more graphic design skills and discipline. So she then applied to school and, you know, furthered her education in that industry. You know, and she's gonna do such great things in the graphic design world. She's giving her own business a shot, and that's her taking accountability and taking things into her own hands, because it's working in the arts and in the creative industry is such cool work. It's so competitive, so worthwhile. And yeah, getting up and going is the hardest part. You really gotta put one step in front of the other and plant the seeds. And then just sort of have faith that something good will come from it. And, you know, I really admire a lot of the people that I met throughout my education. I sort of found my people there. Okay, I lied. There's a little bit of Frangelico in my coffee. For those of you that don't know, Frangelico is like this hazelnut flavored liqueur made in Italy, I believe, product of Italy. It's delicious. It's very sweet and nutty, but it's not too syrupy or sticky. It's really sweet. I really love it. I love hazelnut. I got a lot of hazelnut stuff for Valentine's Day, as well as a nice, beautiful bundle of roses and other flour. But yeah, a lot of hazelnut stuff, like Ferrero Rocher and Kinder. Kinder makes a nice hazelnut thing. Shout out to my boyfriend for all the beautiful, delicious treats and presents. Did you guys have a good love day? All good if you didn't. It's a fucking stupid day. It's a fucking stupid holiday. It's only fun for those of you that are in relationships or love yourself enough that the rest of people just feel like shit, right? Unless they just don't have their mind on that at all. But no, Valentine's Day is overhyped, as we all know. It's like the most commercialized BS holiday. You know, a lot of people, I saw on TikTok, a lot of people were just celebrating self-care and self-love, which is awesome. We should be doing that every day. You know, a lot of people were saying, give yourself all the gifts that you think a guy should be giving you. Yeah, every day, you know? I always just, maybe because I'm a Leo, I always just want to give myself a bubble bath and roses and, be wearing a nice silk robe and treat myself to nice things all the time because I spoil myself. You know, I get myself nice clothes and nice perfume, and so why not spray that in the house and wear that in the house and enjoy that for myself. Another TikTok I watched, this woman made a really good point, like, okay, so you buy all this expensive perfume and you spray it on just for other people to smell it when you go out? That makes no sense. You worked so hard for the money in which you bought that perfume with. Enjoy it. You bought it for yourself. Enjoy it for yourself. Wear it in the home. Love that. I live by that. Behind this setup here, you guys can't see it, but I actually have a golden pole, a golden dance pole, or a stripper pole, depending on how you want to view it. I view it as a dance pole. I got it for exercise purposes, self-confidence purposes. I did a lot of dance growing up, ballet, tap, jazz, the whole thing. I spent pretty well a decade in the dance studio, quite a few days a week, getting nice and stretchy and all the things. But now that I'm older and like getting more achy and tight, now that I'm getting older and slower and more achy, I'm like, no, I need to get myself back in shape. Not that I'm not in shape, but I want to feel movement throughout my body again. I mean, I do yoga and exercise and run, but I want to learn choreography again. I just want to feel a flow. So I got a pole, so and I love it. I had to get gold. I didn't want to get silver like everybody else's pole. I wanted gold. And it's great. It's static, it spins, I found a really great deal on it. So yeah, shout out my stripper pole and shout out me for being tough and building my own strength. And it's so much fun to, like, even on YouTube, I'm finding so many tutorials. And then maybe when we open up again, eventually, I'll be able to go to a dance class, which was one of my 2021 goals, is get back into dancing. So I gotta make that shit happen for myself because the government's not gonna allow me to make that happen for myself out in public anytime soon. So bringing the pole and the dance classes to my apartment because that's me taking control. Love that. Love taking control. It's really unfortunate, the current status of Toronto, which is the city that I live. I love this city. I don't want to live anywhere else, but I also, seeing how much it's just declined in the last year makes me really sad. And I really would hate to see the decline continue at this rate and what it's going to look like this time next year. That thought scares me. That thought makes me want to move out of the city. But knowing what life outside of the city is like, I don't know where else I want to move. It would be so nice to be close to water, like in cottage country. But then I feel that pull to be in the city. It's almost like when you're younger, you want to be in the city, and then when you're older, you want to, go and be somewhere more serene and secluded. But when you're younger, you just feel this pull to be in the city. And maybe that's just me, maybe because I grew up watching early 2000s teen, pop drama, Lindsay Lohan, and, all these early 2000s Disney movies with, girls always moving to the city or having to go somewhere for school or their job, or just this life of moving away from home. So now that I've moved away and I love the city's now my home, it's like I don't want to leave it, though. I was talking about how I'm so inspired by my neighbors, and it's true. I'll peer up into like I know I bitched about a peeping Tom a couple of weeks ago, but it's actually so fun to just walk around at night and like, this is gonna sound so creepy, but like when people's like living room lights are on, you can just like, from a distance as you're walking your dog, you just sort of peer in and you're like, wow, I love how you've decorated your living room. Or, a couple weeks back, it was like Friday at 8:30 p.m. Granted, nobody really has anything better to do, but I saw this old man who's very clearly some sort of architect or something. He was at his stand-up desk, making some blueprints or tracing out some sketch, and I love that he was very clearly well into his 60s, 70s maybe, and he was just working so hard late at night. His house was massive. He lives in $1 million brownstone in the annex in Toronto, and it's just, I'm so inspired by my neighbors and my surrounding. And even though it's an apocalypse zone, I can still walk my dog and feel some sort of life and some sort of pulse in this city. It's a slow pulse, it's a resting heartbeat, but it's still better than, in my opinion, what I've experienced in the past, smaller cities where I just feel like it's flatlined currently, because their normal is just like a nice resting heartbeat, and now they've just flatlined. Whereas Toronto is this big pulse of a city, and now we're just at a resting heartbeat. Kind of a weird analogy there, but we're gonna go with it, okay? I love Toronto. I don't love where it is right now. I just feel almost like if I was in Kitchener, if I was in a smaller town, I wouldn't be as motivated. Whereas here, I know I have to keep this roof over my head. I've got to keep going. I still feel motivated. I know that there's still, although a lot of people are moving out of the city, there are still people here that feel the same way that I do. They're staying here. They're holding out hope for something. But what it is, we don't know, but we're holding it out for it. We're just being optimistic, trying to visualize something better. And maybe it's those of us that just simply can't let go of things, but I want to talk a little bit about the women who raised me. I alluded and I mentioned last week a lot of the changes that I had gone through at an early stage in life. But after that stage, I had the fortune of living with my Aunt Colleen, after which I moved in with my grandmother, Wilma, who shared so much wisdom with me. Cue the graphic. But giving a little bit of context about them, I think, will help to get you guys to know a little bit more about me. My aunt worked in the arts. She worked for the city, and with her, she was, she had me enrolled in dance. She had me in drama camp. On the weekends, she worked for a local theater, so I was always there putting gels on the lights, or taking the ticket stubs. She always included me in like community events and activities. There was Royal Medieval Fair and the Busker Carnival. So Royal Medieval Fair, people were actually like dressed up, and there'd be turkey legs and huzzah and the whole thing. There'd be jousting matches. And then, but the Busker Carnival would be an international, she'd bring in a bunch of international buskers who would perform on the street, and it was so fun living with her and growing up with such an open-minded woman, and she instilled so much goodness and open-mindedness and curiosity into me, and I owe so much to her for that. She always encouraged me to go on bike rides alone, or jump on the trampoline in the background, or just always be out in nature. I didn't have cable, I didn't have internet up until grade 8 when I moved in with my grandmother. So I was just totally free, and I miss that childlike mindset that I have, and I miss the home that we had together, and she provided such a wonderful home for me, and I had visited her a few weeks back, and to see all those items that from my childhood home and her current home, her current farmhouse, just to see the same items, sort of brought me back to this place of like nostalgia. And I really hate feeling nostalgic. I really do. I don't know why. But yeah, she provided such a cool artistic environment. She was always playing the radio, always music in the house. She was always, she just provided such like a cool environment for me to sort of find myself and experience self-expression. There was no holding back on that, and she always, she cultivated an environment of me having, the freedom to find myself and do what I wanted. And we were always, I'd have friends over, or I'd go to a friend's house, and we'd be making skits or little dance routines, and she'd be hanging out with her friends, and then I would just get along with the kids. And and eventually, like, as I was getting older, we had a falling out, and then I moved in with my grandma. It was just sort of this switch that we felt when I was in grade 8, that it was just better for me to go and live with my grandmother. A lot of my anger issues were starting to come out. There's certain growth that needed to happen on my end and on my aunt's end that we started to clash a little bit too much, and it was better for me to go and live with my grandma at the time. So then I had the internet. I had full access to, like, Barbie.com, and I guess not Barbie.com. What was I doing in grade 8? I don't know, like Neopets, Webkins, Pixo. Like, that was like when, like, MySpace was phasing out. I think Facebook was pretty big back in, like, grade 8 for me. I was all on Facebook too. Nonetheless, I moved in with my grandma, and bless her heart, she was still driving me to school every morning because I couldn't take the bus to school anymore. I was in a different city. And my grandma, she's, Wilma, she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She's just the sweetest, kindest, selfless, caring, just, I could just squish her. Everyone who knows her just knows that she's just the kindest lady, sweetest lady. I know everyone says that about their grandmother, but mine takes the cake. I'm gonna have to have her on one of the future episodes. I just want to hear her sort of talk about me for a bit, tell me how much she loves me. But no, I want her to also call me out on a couple things, and just, I think it would be nice to sit down and just reflect on us living together for so long. She's my ideal roommate. That's what I joke about. Up until I moved out on my own, I guess 2 years ago now, back in 2019, we had such a great living arrangement, especially in her apartment. I was living on one half of the apartment, she was on the other half, and yeah, she's my ideal roommate, my grandmother. But no, I also put her through hell when I lived with her. Going through high school, and all the boyfriends and all the parties and all the best friends and the breakups and all of the high schoolness. She told me that I caused her to go on blood pressure medication. Crushes my heart. I don't even want to take accountability for that, but I don't blame her. I don't know if I want a kid just for the fact of what I can only imagine I put her through when I went through high school. I can't even imagine. I was something to be reckoned with. I mentioned in my first relationship that the courts and police got involved, and I had to switch high schools, and it was this whole thing, and and my grandma had to deal with the bulk of that. I entered into the Family and Children's Services system. Mostly so that my grandma could get some help financially, but also it just, I was then given like a social worker, and, it was, I was just given a lot of like community supports, I guess, to get me through this time and to motivate me to stay in school and to not totally get off into the wrong place, which totally could have happened. I totally could have ended up in somewhere different than I am now. And, there was times when I had to catch myself, and I'll mention those in future episodes. And, there was times in high school where I was just such a shit person, and I just didn't want to get any better, and I was just like, woe is me, and very angsty. which a lot of us, I think, can be at times. But it was so hard for me to like motivate me, especially in high school. But I do have to give credit to like my boyfriend at the time who, was an entrepreneur. He dropped out of high school and was doing, he was so driven to do good things for himself and work towards his passions. And it motivated me to think like, okay, like I know I can get to a better place in life, and I know this too shall pass. And it's sort of I didn't have many male role models. I didn't really have many, a lot of people in my family didn't graduate high school or post secondary, or you know they had found themselves being quite content with like this certain lifestyle, and I knew I wasn't going to be content with that. So having certain people around me to show me and allude to this better lifestyle and this, idea of making things happen for yourself and doing what you love to do, it's it helped me sort of, I guess, come out of that angsty time. Because again, I was like skipping school and just not showing up and not putting in effort. I thought like, bopping around on the city bus listening to rap music was me, doing good stuff with my time. And it was, but I could have been putting in that effort into things that were more beneficial, because at the time my education wasn't. But no, my growing up with my grandmother, we lived on the nicest street in sort of like a rough area right around the local mall. And then I would eventually get a job at the mall, and I had a few jobs in high school and in retail and restaurants. I never held the job very long. I always like would work a couple months, and then I would like fuck up in some way, whether it was me calling into work so that I could go to some party, or I found a way to fuck it up essentially. I got my stuff together, and I now am very disciplined and I'm able to hold a job. But I look back on those times and I just think like, what a contrasting me and my grandmother in an environment, what contrasting personalities. So yeah. But my grandmother was a court reporter. She's now retired. She works extremely hard. She still wants to help out lots of people, so she still is like dabbling in some work. But no, she's a self-employed court reporter. Back in her day, she did that for almost 4 decades. Raised 5 children pretty well on her own. My grandfather was off hitting the bottle and being a little bit off his rocker. So yeah, she was forced to raise 5 kids and provide for her family, keep a roof over their heads. And she did all that with like, such conviction and like a smile on her face and kindness in her heart. And she's just the most nurturing lady. Love her to bits. Love her more than life herself. Love her more than life itself. Love her so much. Yeah, I got lots of strong women around me, lots of strong people around me who have like inspired me and, taught me what I know. So yeah, just support yourself and provide yourself that environment with like really cool people that uplift you. And I was, one of my other favorite sayings is, you should never be the smartest person in the room. Or no, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, which I think is a really great saying. There's nothing wrong with, being around people that are equal, and it's not a matter of equality. It's just more of like, be around people that inspire you. Punch up, they say in the comedy world, right? Punch up, don't punch down. Ultimately you can look within yourself and see like, okay, what do I want to be educated in? What do I want to be well versed in? What do I want to do with my life, right? Easier said than done, but that's what we're saying. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Yeah, although I'm still Jenny from the block, used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. I didn't come from the Bronx. I came from Kitchener-Waterloo, which is a great city, innovative city. You know, shout out Blackberry and Rim. Shout out the universities. Shout out, gosh, I don't know. Shout out Kitchener-Waterloo, the farmers market. What else is dope there? Quite a few things, but that's all that's coming to mind. Yeah, thanks for letting me get some stuff off of my chest this week, guys. Feels good. I feel a little looser. Go get high. I mean, go get educated. Go get you a fucking snack. I don't know. Go get you something to fucking nourish yourself, whether that be reading some more of your book, going for a walk and peeping into some people's houses and looking at their living room decor. I don't know, go do something for yourself. Go put some Frangelico in your coffee. Or if you don't drink coffee or alcohol, I don't know, I have to go paint my nails. That's honestly what's on my list. I have to do something. I have to do something about these nails. Thanks for listening. Please connect with me on socials. We're now on TikTok. That's right, you heard it. Tittok is now on TikTok. So go give us a follow, Tittok Pod. And yeah, if you're not interacting with us over there, you can find us on Instagram or even our little Facebook group. Nonetheless, see you guys next week. Peace and love.